What up, soul family? How y'all been doing? Period. I'm excited for this video because this is the real tea right here. Like, this is the real sweet tea right here. Everybody talks about it, how there's a difference between male and females and what people should do and what they shouldn't do in a relationship. So I felt like it was only right for me to hop on this little topic, at least while it's trending. Might touch on it a few more times after this, but yeah, this generation, prayers. But anyways, let's get into it.
Them no know, them no know, them no know. Send me a real top girl. Them fi know me a real top girl, real top girl, real top girl. Me can do it natural.
Okay. Are y'all ready? I'm ready. Okay, sorry. The first thing I want to say is, I think I'm gonna touch on, it's so much, right? It's like, and I wrote them down, but I'm trying to figure out which order to go into, but I think I'm gonna go with, okay. This is more of, before I start, this is more like a, I'm not bashing and saying what people are doing wrong. This video is like, what can you do as an individual to improve your relationship? Okay. Before I get it out there, because I don't want to start off on the wrong foot, or like, whatever you thought was going to happen ain't going to happen down here. But anyways, the first thing to improve your relationship is, number one, which is the obvious, love yourself. I mean, yeah. Because the first question really is, are you going to love yourself as much as you're willing to love that other person? When you're looking for love and you don't know how to love yourself first, it can be very difficult to discern who actually loves you and who is just attached to you. Because a lot of people nowadays, they start off with love bombing. And love bombing is when you first meet somebody and they want to do everything for you. Like, they say how much they compliment you, how much they want you in their future. They want to buy you stuff. They want to do all the extra stuff to like win your attention, right? And then when you actually get into a relationship, everything stops. It's like, okay, where did all the love go? Like, you had all this energy in the beginning, so now that you got me, you just stopped, right? And that comes from, a person trying to manipulate you and just coming off with, attachment styles. Like, they're just attached to you. They don't actually love you. So you have to look within, okay, and recognize, what does love look like for me? What are my love languages? And once you find out your love languages, practice it on yourself. Like, if you love physical touch, like, hug yourself, give yourself kisses. If you love the material stuff, buy yourself flowers. If you love when somebody could just stimulate your mind, stimulate your own mind, like stuff like that. Practice your love languages on yourself so you can recognize what love looks like for you. And then when it comes in, it's okay, like, I know this is love right here, And you'll definitely know the difference between when somebody's attached to you and love bombing you and when they actually love you and care for you, because they're speaking in your love languages and they're not coming off love bombing you on like the first sight. Somebody that really like appreciates you for you, like, they're willing to take their time to understand you. They're not going to rush anything. They're not going to base the relationship off sex. Like, they're going to be there for you and they're going to be patient with you, Yeah, that's basically that. Like, love yourself before you love anybody else. And a lot of people say it, but it's so true. Like, everything starts with you. So love yourself first. Be careful with yourself. Show yourself some compassion, and somebody else will do that as well. As long as you're whole in yourself, You don't need to be somebody else's world. You don't need somebody to be your world. Like, you're whole in yourself, the other person is whole in yourself, and you guys come together as a team, not one, as in, like, you know, when I say one, like, I'm thinking of it as you're like half of yourself, you're not full, the other person is half, and you guys come together as one, like as an attachment. But you want to come together as like a team, if that makes sense. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about is one thing I notice, boys, when they go through whatever they may be going through, they don't really communicate as much. They start to get distant and they start to overthink in their head, and they just want to figure out the situation on their own. Females, in a sense, some females, because me, I kind of was treating it like a male thing because I was more tapped into our masculine energy back then, but where I would just keep a nonchalant attitude and not really go to other people and like distance myself from other people when I'm going through whatever. Some females do not do that. Some people are more open to communicating, especially when it comes to their partner. So in most cases, you have an empath as a female, as a girlfriend. However, your role is in the relationship. You may be an empath and your significant other may be nonchalant. And in those cases, when it comes down to argument, or when it comes down to arguing or communicating disagreement, whatever it is, there's a clash because one person is willing to communicate and one person is nonchalant, so they're not really giving into the communication. That's where you have to really figure out, how can we both communicate so we could come to a middle ground? Because it could start off with a disagreement and then it goes into an argument because mainly the nonchalant person is being passive aggressive with their attitude, or they just don't really care. So in those cases, I feel like the best solution is to really sit down. And this is why I say love languages are so important, because a lot of people express their love in different ways, and communicating is one of them. So I feel like you guys should sit down and be like, hey, I don't want to argue anymore. I don't want to have these disagreements. Usually it's on the person with a more nonchalant side. Their role is to more like open up and be more receptive to communication. But at the same time, the person that is willing to communicate may have to come in with a different approach when it comes to a disagreement. Because if you come in more catty, or if you come in with an attitude, or whatever the case may be, the nonchalant person is automatically going to switch to the mood where I don't want to deal with this. So the person that's more receptive to the communication, just come in with a different approach, you know? Don't come in so angry. Don't come in filled with emotions. Come in with the intention where you want to solve that problem. And most likely the nonchalant person is going to be like, okay, I can open up to this. Because the nonchalant person, they're not going to yell. They're not going to argue back with you. But if you come in with like a straight tone, just neutral, you're not upset, you're not overly hyped up, but you're just on a neutral ground, the communication will go way more better. Trust. Coming from somebody that do not argue and does not yell, I don't like arguing, none of that. Coming with a smooth approach, and I'm guaranteed going to respond to you. But if you're coming at me yelling, I'm not saying nothing to you until you fix your attitude. But yeah, that's one thing I also peeped as well. So, and can we touch on the topic real quick where males are always like, you know, females ain't ish, and then the females are coming in like males ain't ish. I feel like we come to that point because psychologically, males are more prone to lying and females are more prone to manipulating. So, those are both toxic. Some people do both. I mean, in order to lie, you have to. Okay, so it comes in with both, but females, they're more good at manipulating, and males are more good at lying. Not saying that if, males, because males get caught all the time, I'm not gonna lie. I don't mean that they're good at the actual lying. Some may be, some may catch you there, but they're just more prone to it. Like, they do it more often, and there's a lot that plays into that, honey. But what I really want to say is the reason for males, actually no, I'm sorry for females. The reason why females are more prone to manipulating because we're more intuitive. We read in between the lines. We overthink stuff. We jump to conclusions and all this type of stuff. So, say for instance, you meet a guy, right? And I'm gonna do like two scenarios. So basically, you meet one man, right? As a female, you're like, I don't like him. Like, all he wants to do is just F, but he offered me to go on a date, right? Females, y'all know where I'm getting with this, because at one point in time, we've all been guilty of this. So I don't want to hear nothing. But all I'm going to say is, you're going to accept that date still. Why? Because it's either free food, free drinks, whatever it is, like, you're going to use the way to benefit you in the situation, even though you know it's not what you want. You're basically going to, like, use his time. I ain't saying it's wrong or right. I'm just saying that's what we do. Because on the other hand, the male that knows he ain't all of that is offering the dates to check off a little box in his head, like, okay, I bought her flowers, I took her on a date, I gave her free food. At the end of the night, I know you know what I'm saying? They know the end goal on their end, and we know the end goal on our end. Come together. Now it's the conversation where it's like, you ain't ish, and you ain't ish. I think that sums it up. Basically, like, we know what we doing at the end of the day, but when we meet that right person, then all of that all of that BS is gonna change. When you meet that right person, it's like, okay, I'm not just gonna go on a date with him because he's offering me a free date. Like, I'm actually going on a date because I actually like him. Or in the male situation, I'm not gonna ask her on a date just to F. Like, I really want to get to know her. So, your behavior changes when you meet the right person or whatever. But I'm just saying, in the dating world, that's how it is. And it's hard out here in these streets just because of that. Because everybody's trying to get their own little thing out of each other. And then it just causes all of this confusion and blase, right? And speaking of that, if you are looking for the right one, the first thing that you should do is know your worth, honey. And as soon as you know your worth, it's going to skyrocket. You're going to find somebody. Trust me, because if you're dating somebody and you don't know your worth and they don't know your worth, it's like, it's not going to end out well for you if you're looking for the one, right? And you're going to think that the person knows your worth at the end of the day, but something in the back of your head is going to tell you, that ain't right. He's supposed to be doing this instead of doing that. I'm huffing and puffing because it's really hard out here. It's hard out here for real. Like, if you're single, you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, know your worth before you step into anything with anybody. Just know your worth. Know that you have to put yourself on a high pedestal before you let somebody tell you where you stand. And on period, okay? Because you could not know your worth, step into some situation with the person, and they treat you like garbage. I need to stop. I need to like come up with different curse words or like different words to say instead of curse words, because I know I can't curse on YouTube, but yeah, they treat you like garbage. And there's so many things wrong with that. I mean, sometimes you meet somebody and they're just not mentally up there to understand your worth, you know? Like, at the end of the day, they might still be dealing with whatever they got going on. They may have their own insecurities or whatever they got going on. They're just blocked to see your worth, right? But it's up to you to know your worth, to be like, okay, this person is not seeing my worth, I have to move on. And whatever your worth looks like to you is whatever it looks like to you, and stick with it. No matter who tells you what, no matter who treats you like this, stick with whatever worth means to you. And then you gonna get up there and find possibly the love of your life. Because they gonna understand, know your worth, and respect you, and then boom, and then you decide, okay, is this person worth my time? Speaking facts over here. And a quick thing I want to touch on communication is just when you find yourself in a disagreement with somebody, listen before you speak. Listen so you don't react. So you can just respond, not react out of emotions, just respond. Like, really take your time and be patient. It may be hard at one point, but really take your time and be patient with the other person within a disagreement, because it's going to go way much better. It's not going to turn into an argument and everybody's in their emotions and heated up from this and that, whatever the case may be. Let's chill out. Listen. Don't react. Even if you gotta take a step back and be like, okay, let me process what this person just said. Or if you're not clear what the person said, ask. But this is for the men out there as well that be like, they see their significant other send this long paragraph where they just venting for a long time, right? And then they ask what you mean. What you mean, and just leave it at that, implies that you didn't hear anything I just said. But if you ask on if you ask on a specific part, like, okay, what did you mean by this, that, and that? Like, be specific on which part you're confused about, and not imply that you're confused about the whole thing. And if you are, can you, not say what you mean only? Can you say what you're confused about exactly? Things will go much smoother, my brother. Come on now. And not on the stupid stuff, stuff that really has to do with the principle of the situation. Please. And then as the person that sent the long paragraph, you may be heated in those emotions, but understand that everybody's point of view is different. So if they're not getting your point of view right away, just be patient and explain what you meant by that specific part. And it will turn from an argument to just a conversation so quick. Your end goal is never to, you don't want it to be an argument. An argument is coming out of emotions, but if you just have a simple conversation, the conflict will be resolved, people. Think logically. Think with your head and not your heart when it comes to certain conversations, because people have different perspectives. Especially as boys are so simple when they comes to arguing or whatever. They might not get every point that you're getting at, because we read in between the lines, we do this and that. Just do those things and you'll be straight. But please don't be asking me what you mean and just that's it. Be specific on which parts that you're confused about, and I will explain it to you. Please. And the main thing is you cannot hop into a relationship unless you're willing to be transparent, like a glass. Insecurity is going to show. Trauma is going to show. Your real personality is going to show. Your inner child, your inner teenager, whatever it is, it's going to show because your goal is to be transparent in a relationship. And how do you be transparent in a relationship? You have to be transparent with yourself. Are you willing to look inside yourself and be like, okay, I'm fine with this part of myself, I'm fine with that part of myself, and I'm fine with this part of myself? If you're not fine with those parts of yourselves, then how can you be fine with somebody else looking at those parts of yourselves, right? You want to be as transparent as possible in your relationship so your relationship could grow a stronger bond. You cannot build off of lies. You cannot build off of hidden agendas. You cannot build off of secrets. Like you have to let everything else come out. Let it come out. Because you know what they say, the truth always going to come out. Always. It might not be right away, but eventually it will. So you want to come in transparent as hell. Do what you got to do. But yeah, that was a little tips. Hope you enjoyed. And we're going to be back with another one real soon.